Hello and welcome to the F1 News Zone, the show where we round up all the biggest stories in Formula 1 right now. We are currently in the break between the Spanish and Canadian Grand Prix, so let's see which stories have been making the headlines this week. This week, Lewis Hamilton has described his Ferrari as undriveable. Flavio Briatore has said that he's not happy with Franco Colapinto so far in 2025, and we explain why Max Verstappen is on the verge of a race ban. If you're watching on YouTube, skip to the timestamps in the video to watch the story that you are most interested. So, without further delay, let's dive in. So, it's fair to say Hamilton is not having a good time right now at Ferrari. He said during this Spanish Grand Prix weekend that it was the most difficult race weekend for him in his career so far. And he also said that the car right now is, quote, undriveable, but his team boss Frederic Vasseur has forgiven him for this criticism. Of course, it was a long time ago. Remember Alain Prost back in 1991? He got sacked from the Ferrari team for criticising the car, and of course that famous interaction portrayed in the movie Rush between Niki Lauda and the great Enzo Ferrari, that's one that very much goes down in legend as well. Nowadays you can criticise the Scuderia, but you got to be careful about your words. Still, that is of course the national team of Italy, and Hamilton, in his own words, has not been performing well enough. You know, he's really not happy with how he's doing right now. So let's have a look at what's been said here, guys. Full article on the F1Chronicle.com as always. Just as Charles Leclerc is becoming more upbeat about Ferrari's performance, Lewis Hamilton's woes are only deepening. Team boss Frederic Vasseur has predicted a boost for the team from the flexible wing clampdown this weekend in Barcelona, and it seems to have materialised somewhat, and indeed it did. This article was written before the race weekend, but of course Hamilton got 6th place in the end and Leclerc got onto the podium, so Ferrari were looking better. But like I said, despite being up in 6th, Hamilton was really despondent following this weekend. Championship leader Oscar Piastri said after Friday's running that Max Verstappen is in the hunt for victory this weekend, and Ferrari and Mercedes are also close. Ferrari and Mercedes have closed the gap, Red Bull advisor Dr. Helmut Marko agreed. Leclerc has spent much of the first third of 2025 looking and sounding downbeat, but he qualified and finished P2 last Sunday in Monaco and declared on Friday in Barcelona, "We're not far away, the performance is there," and it was there in his hands for sure. But in terms of catching McLaren up, yeah, no one's really that close. They were very dominant. 1-2 in qualifying, 1-2 in the race. And yeah, Verstappen going for the victory. I mean, he got up to P2, but what happened to him after that? Yeah, not too great. Not too great. Had the wrong tyres at the end of the race and that whole thing happened. But, you know, I've already covered that for you guys in a separate video. The report from the other red cockpit, however, could not be more different. Undriveable, he told increasingly high-profile race engineer Riccardo Adame. The 7-time world champion even criticised the FIA for trying to curb front-wing flexibility and disagreed with his old team boss Toto Wolff that the clampdown could benefit Ferrari the most. "I have absolutely no idea what this FIA clampdown is supposed to achieve," said Hamilton, and where Toto got that impression from, I hope he's right. I mean, he might have been right, to be fair. I mean, you know, they did improve Ferrari. They were better, but we'll see how they get on in Montreal in a few weeks' time, of course. The 40-year-old, however, does not share this view. It hasn't been fun, he told reporters late on Friday. "It's a beautiful place, the weather is incredible, but I wouldn't say I'm motivated in the team right now." Vasseur suggested Hamilton's undriveable comment was over the top. "Hamilton is suffering," he told Sky Italia, "but in the race simulation he was fast. I understand the difficulty. Maybe the comment was extreme, but it was the adrenaline of the car. Lewis also had a very strong run on the soft tyres, so the car wasn't as horrible as he said on the radio." Ferrari is famous for coming down hard on drivers who dare to criticise the team or the car. "The comments about the car aren't a big deal to me," Vasseur insists. "As long as they get back in the truck and we have a constructive meeting, that's the most important thing," the Frenchman added. "The balance is not perfect yet, that's true, but I think that's true for the others as well." So yeah, I mean, they look better, Ferrari, but my God, Hamilton was not happy. He was really not happy. So yeah, just a little update with that, guys. I mean, yeah, that undriveable comment, it won't have gone down well in Italy, but, you know, he's got to perform, Hamilton. He's got to be close to Leclerc. And unfortunately, the margins are so thin in qualifying that it does not help him. But we'll see how they get on in Montreal. He's won a lot of times around there. 7 times, I think, most of anybody. Very good in Canada over the years. So we'll see how he gets on there. I'm hoping for a podium for him. But we'll have to see what happens, guys. The fallout from the Spanish Grand Prix incident between Max Verstappen and George Russell has predictably been very, very significant. Not really a surprise given the controversy surrounding this crash late on during this weekend's race around Barcelona. Now, pretty much everybody does agree that Max Verstappen should have got a penalty. Going off the comments that I've seen on the videos that I've done about this, explaining the penalty, explaining why he got 10 seconds. What people are divided on mostly is how much of a penalty he should have got. People either thinking that he maybe should have got 20 seconds, 30 seconds, the disqualification like Nico Rosberg was saying. There are a very small number of people, some very, very ardent Max Verstappen fans who basically say that he shouldn't have got a penalty and George Russell deserved what he got and he should therefore be fine because it's George Russell, But, even Max Verstappen now has come out and admitted that he was in the wrong. He's publicly come out on Instagram and not apologised outright, but accepted responsibility for what he did. He said the following on Instagram. He said, "We had an exciting strategy and good race in Barcelona till the safety car came out. Our tyre choice to the end and some of the moves after the safety car restart fueled my frustration, leading to a move that was not right and shouldn't have taken place. I always give everything out there for the team and emotions can run high. You win some together, you lose some together. See you in Montreal." And I get it, in the heat of the moment, being interviewed just after the race, he's never really going to admit responsibility there. I mean, yeah, he should have done because it was his fault. But, I understand why it's very difficult for someone in that moment when they've been through so much. And I mean, like I said in my kind of explainer video going over the penalty itself, I said that, I understood why Verstappen was so angry. I get why he was so irate. It was a difficult race for him. He was put on the wrong tyres. He lost a place at the restart and, he was being ordered to effectively lose a second place by giving that place to George Russell. I totally get why he was angry. Any other driver would have been a bit peeved as well if it was them. But that doesn't change the fact that Max Verstappen actually is in a bit of trouble at the moment, or he will be if he gets another penalty. So what I mean by that is that in addition to him getting those 10 seconds of time penalties after the Spanish Grand Prix, he did also get a 3 penalty points penalty added to his super license, which brings him up to 11 points. Now, if you get to 12 points within a 12-month period, then you have to get a race ban. And we've seen this happen before. We saw it last season with Kevin Magnussen at Haas. He, of course, had to sit out the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and Ollie Behrman had to take his place for that race. So, Verstappen is on 11 points. Now, that does reduce to 9 points. 2 of his penalty points do get taken off his super license because we will have been 12 months since he got those penalties at the end of this month, at the end of June. So, on the 30th of June, those penalty points are taken off. He'll still have 9s. He's still in danger. In theory, at that point, he's still only 1 incident away from getting a race ban if he gets another 3-pointer. Although to do something that would get 3 points, it has to be very severe, like running into the side of George Russell and using your car as a weapon. It very much deserved 3 penalty points in my opinion, and I think that's the correct decision by the stewards. So basically, Verstappen has to be calm, cool and collected. He has to keep his nose clean throughout the next 2 rounds of the season, the 2 rounds of the championship taking place in June, Montreal, Canada coming up in 2 weeks' time, and 2 weeks after that, just before the end of the month, it is Spielberg, it is Austria, Red Bull's home race. And we've seen a few incidents at Spielberg over the years, the Red Bull Ring, with Max Verstappen, of course. So, yeah, it's very much a track that you can see some crashes and stuff around, and Verstappen's been involved in a few of them in the past. So, he has to be calm. He has to really be careful here, otherwise he could get a race ban. And I'm sure some people would be like, oh, the FIA would never dare do that to him. I think they would. I mean, a lot of people are making out that the FIA is biased against Verstappen for incidents like what happened in Spain, but I respectfully disagree with that notion. I think that's complete and utter rubbish. He rammed into the side of George Russell. It has to be a penalty. If Hamilton did that, you guys would be screaming for him to get thrown out of the championship and never return. So there we go, guys. Verstappen is in theory just one incident away. All it has to be is something relatively minor, a 1 penalty point thing. For reference, he got a penalty point on his license, I believe, for the George Russell incident in Qatar last year. Remember that qualifying debacle we had? I think everybody was basically saying, what the hell was going on there? Why was Verstappen getting a penalty for that? I think he got a penalty point for that, actually. So it can be something really minor, like he could literally hold up someone during qualifying, and that could be it. But we'll see, guys. Will Verstappen get a race ban? Will he not? Oh, guys, it's happening again. I say this through gritted teeth. Oh, Flavio Briatore is apparently not happy with Franco Colapinto. It's not working out. Flavio is not happy. Who would have predicted this? And this all comes as well on the weekend where Alpine have descended to 10th and last in the constructors' standings. They are the very bottom of the championship now. They are below Sauber, who of course got that incredible result with Hülkenberg. They are now officially the worst team in Formula 1. It's happened. It's not a surprise, but it's happened. But yeah, he says he's not happy with Colapinto's performances. Obviously, he's been shoehorned into the team, done this triple header. Apparently, he's got 2 races left. But Flavio has also come out and said that 5 race thing is also not true. So I don't know. Flavio does strike me as the kind of person you can tell when he's lying because his lips are moving, but that's just my opinion. But let's dive into this article here on the F1Chronicle.com as always, guys. Flavio Briatore is not yet happy with Franco Colapinto's performance at Alpine. The team dropped rookie Jack Doohan after just 6 races this year to install another rookie, the heavily Argentine-sponsored Colapinto, into the cockpit. So far, he has underwhelmed his primary supporter, Alpine advisor Briatore. He crashed right away on the first race weekend. The famous Italians told Sky Deutschland in Barcelona, "If I was to say I was happy, then that would be a lie. I am not happy at all." Alpine declared in the official announcement of the Doohan-Colapinto swap that the Argentine was only guaranteed 5 races. Briatore swiftly denied that. However, it's no longer clear precisely how long Colapinto will be given. "We'll have to see how the season develops for him," Briatore said. "We also have to recognise that Franco is very young and under a lot of pressure from all directions, not just from Argentina. This, Barcelona, is his first real race, where we'll see how he can do." Was Monaco and Imola not a real race? Interesting. "In his job, you have to be able to gain confidence as quickly as possible. I hope that he can do that and get back on track." Oddly, sudden new paddock rumours suggest that Briatore might now be eyeing Mick Schumacher. Oh, God. Alpine's top WEC sports car driver for a potential return to Formula 1. "I don't think that's a question to ask here," Briatore snapped at Barcelona. Next question. "I don't want to talk about that." Very much stirring the pot is Signore Briatore on that one. Yeah, I don't see Schumacher coming back. That's a bit ridiculous. I mean, they got enough reserve drivers as it is, Who are the other guys? They've got Paul Aaron in there, Kush Miney's in there, Rio Harikawa, I think he's in there as well. Like, he's a reserve driver for every team these days. He was in FP1 for Haas, of course. So, yeah, I mean, listen, Colapinto's a good driver. I'm not doubting him. He just needs time. Simple as that, like a lot of people. And I hate the fact that these rumours are starting already. Like, come on, let the guy breathe. It's not right. But anyway, guys, your thoughts in the comments below are appreciated as always on this topic and every one we cover here on the Formula Reports. So, got some news to bring you guys regarding Arvid Lindblad, someone who is absolutely tearing Formula 2 up right now, and he's a Red Bull junior. Now, Red Bull have apparently put an application in to allow the youngster to get an exemption when it comes to driving a Formula 1 car. Of course, to drive a Formula 1 car, you need a super license, and to get a super license, you have to be 18 years of age. And now Lindblad, believe it or not, is just 17 years of age. Now you'll remember a similar situation arose last season when there were rumours about Kimi Antonelli making his Formula 1 debut to replace Logan Sargent at Williams. Of course that never happened, but there were reports that Mercedes were putting applications in to make an exemption for him because at that time he was only 17. Now of course Lindblad is effectively the next driver on the conveyor belt for Red Bull, but he's not old enough currently to replace one of the RB or one of the Red Bull drivers if one of them are unavailable, whether it is injury or in the case of Max Verstappen, suspension. Of course, Verstappen is one super license penalty point away from getting a suspension. He's on 11 out of 12. And in theory, if he gets a penalty at some point during the Canadian or Austrian Grand Prix, he could miss a race this season. So therefore, someone would have to take his place. Lindblad is that guy. Now, of course, at the moment, Lindblad is not old enough to qualify for a super license. He's only 17 years of age. So Red Bull have put an application into the FIA for them to make an exemption for the British youngster. So let's have a look at what's happened here, guys. Full article on the F1chronicle.com as always. Arvid Lindblad could soon be on the Formula 1 grid. Red Bull sent the British-Swedish teenager to race in New Zealand over the winter to collect the final points he needed to qualify for an F1 super license. The only missing piece now, though, is special dispensation from the FIA because the rules stipulate at 17 you can't qualify. Arvid Lindblad has the points for a super license, but he doesn't turn 18 until September, Dr. Helmut Marko recently said. That is why we are currently applying to the FIA for an exemption, which Kimi Antonelli got. The Telegraph newspaper reports that the FIA's World Motorsport Council will review the Lindblad licence application next Tuesday. The Dutch newspaper added Red Bull is responding to a possible suspension of Max Verstappen. Just one more penalty point to his own super licence next week in Canada will mean the four-time world champion will have to sit out Red Bull's home race in Austria around the Red Bull Ring. He can't commit any fences over the next 2 weekends, Marko confirmed to Speed Week, and of course he'll be told not to do anything rash. It would be catastrophic if he couldn't start in Austria, but we don't expect that to happen because it's certainly not the case that Max does something wrong in every race. After Austria, the first penalty points will be removed. That's true. Two of them will be removed after the 30th of June, the final day of the month. So it's only these two races where it will be affected, but as we've seen, Max Verstappen unfortunately can lose his cool in the car. If Verstappen is banned for a race, the most likely scenario is that Red Bull will promote Isaac Hadjar from the Racing Bulls and replace him with Lindblad. Lindblad has had a strong performance in Formula 2, Marko noted. He won the feature race in Barcelona, thus celebrated his second victory of his rookie season. If he continues like this, we can expect him to move up to Formula 1. He may only be 17 years old, but he's also a tremendous talent. 100%. He's a really talented youngster. Really is. Honestly, he's incredible. The stuff that he can do in that car, it's so young, so inexperienced. Fantastic, really. Really impressive. But yeah, there is always a case of too much too soon. So I wouldn't like to see him get kind of drawn up by the Racing Bulls team just yet. I want to see him, potentially win the championship in F2 or come close to doing so. Then I think he's earned it. But, right now, it's pretty early in the season still in F2. Long way to go. But your thoughts in the comments below, guys, because some people have been saying that this was an application that was put in a long time ago. This isn't a recent one in reaction to Max Verstappen. It's one that Red Bull are very much forward planning because who is their reserve driver right now? They don't really have one, I don't think. I think Lindblad is that driver, but he can't compete during Formula 1 Grand Prix because he doesn't have a super license yet. So yeah, would you like to see Lindblad get a call up to RB? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. So, Hamilton, Adami. It seems like a bit of a rivalry between these two at the moment when it comes to the driver and the race engineer. It's getting embarrassing at times. I mean, that mistake that Adami made during Monaco. And listen, I'm not going to blame him entirely for that. Clearly, there is a bit of a disharmonious relationship between Hamilton and his new race engineer. It just could be that Adami is not the right race engineer for Hamilton. He was clearly good enough for Sebastian Vettel and Carlos Sainz before him, but Hamilton is a different kettle of fish. He is somebody who likes his race engineer to be like Bono, I guess. I mean, he had Bono for 11 years, and it's hard to adjust to somebody new after that. I don't doubt that's the case, but do they need to make a change? I think so, personally. I really would look for somebody else. Leclerc, partway through last year, I do believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, did request a new race engineer. So Ferrari can clearly do this. This is something that they leave open to them. I admire Hamilton for trying to stick with it, but it's not working. It's really not working. There's a lot of anger there, a lot of lack of patience, a bit of aggravation going on. It's not working out the way he expected it to. Ferrari in general, obviously, his time there has not gone how he expected it to. But the engineer thing, I think that's something that can be very easily fixed. But Hamilton has come out and now defended his position, said that he has not fallen out with Riccardo Adami, his race engineer at Ferrari. So let's have a look at what he said here. Full article on the F1chronicle.com as always. Lewis Hamilton says reports that he has fallen out with his race engineer are not true. You can read the text on the screen. I can't say that because of censorship. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? That's a loader. 2 letters next to each other as well. There have been clear signs of the 7-time world champions on-air frustration with Riccardo Adami ever since Hamilton made the switch from Ferrari to Mercedes. Adami, who previously race engineered Carlos Sainz and Sebastian Vettel at the Maranello-based team, left Hamilton audibly exasperated in Monaco. There were areas where we just had radio problems, said the British driver in Barcelona. I didn't get all the information I wanted. And that was it. There was a lot of speculation, but most of it not true. Some analysts are calling for Ferrari to split up the pairing, but Hamilton insists he is actually very happy with Adami on the other end of radio calls. We have a very good relationship, he said. He's great to work with. He's a great guy. We both work so hard, and sometimes we don't get it perfect. We disagree sometimes, but that happens in every relationship. We'll get through it together. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us. We're working hand in hand to build the team. All the speculation is just noise that we're not paying attention to. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't affect the work we do. We are constantly getting to know each other better and we adapt to each other's working styles. He's worked with many different drivers and we have no problems at all. I don't know, Lewis. I mean, listen, I respect what you're saying in a sense, but that mess up in Monaco qualifying that cost you 3 places on the grid, I would have been seething at that. It's all right saying there's miscommunications and misunderstandings, but that was fairly black and white. He was told that Verstappen slowed down and he didn't. That is a pure mistake. And I think that's kind of bred out of the issues really when it comes to communication with them. You make mistakes elsewhere, then you make mistakes doing the basic stuff as well. It kind of snowballs from there really. So personally, I would honestly consider switching race engineer. Adami is good as what he does. He absolutely is, but it's not working for Hamilton and they're not going to change the driver, despite what some people online are saying, of course, but you can always change the race engineer if it's not working out. It's not personal. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's got a very nice and calming Italian voice. I must admit, I do like listening to him on the radio, but it's a bit painful listening to him with Hamilton because it's usually about some sort of stuff that's going on. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Does Hamilton stick or twist? Does he change race engineer? Should he change race engineer? Your thoughts in the comments below are appreciated as always. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys. Have a fantastic day wherever you're in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.